Hey, welcome back, guys. All right, so Taurians, let's get into this, shall we? I'm going to take a quick little peek here at the topic of love. Taurus, we just got talking stick. I just did a Capricorn video. The same card came out, and so let me just do one more shuffle for you guys. Ancient Forest. Okay, so first off, we may have an important conversation about the past. This could be somebody resurfaces from long time ago, somebody where there were deep roots. This could be somebody that a character has known much of their life. This could be great wisdom coming in from an ancestor that's going to be applicable now in our character's life. This could be someone from their past coming back in. That could be a lover. This could be whatever this deep rooted conversation is. It's like it could even be a message from just like an ancestor, like I said, like wisdom that is being applied now. But it's like, oh my gosh, I feel so close to an ancestor right now. In this moment that I most needed guidance, I can hear the voice of an ancestor in my head. So I could look at it that way first. But this is a love story. So this could also be two people are about to have a conversation that's going to be extremely like, wow, this is pulling at, the soul's strings, not even heartstrings, the soul strings. We have the world. We have Capricorn. And since this very first card came out, I don't know if there's something, connected to that Capricorn video, but we do have the Capricorn card coming out. This is beautiful, though. This is brand new beginnings. And we have that light, shining in through the forest. We also have the light shining down on our feminine here. So let's just see. And also kind of like a new dawning day here with the talking stick as well. So let's take a close look at this. There's definitely this warmth, this Eight of Pentacles. I'm going to say that right now, we're getting kind of more of an abstract vision of this. Taurus is having like a second chance at something in their life, and their ancestors are with them right now, informing them, Taurus, this is your next opportunity. You can do things different this time around. You have plenty of life ahead of you, Taurus. You have lots and lots of time, and you can reinvent whatever you want to. If you want to give a lover a second chance, if you feel like you're on a life path that is different than your previous life path, that's because we all can change our path, right? We live a good long life as humans. And this Taurus has many, many more years to look forward to explore an entirely different like lifestyle. This Taurus could have gone through either like an energy shift or upgrade. They could have changed careers. This could be a Taurus who's like retiring from one career and shifting into something totally different. Lots of times we retire from something, not because we're retirement age even, but because it's like, oh, I did that for 15 years from, that was my first job when I was 15 till I was 30. And then I retired from that. And now I do this other, chapter of my life. We have the Justice card here, Libra energy. This is starting to feel like Taurus is being given this huge boost of like love, support, and extra confidence coming in from someone in their world that's giving them kind of like the support and the permission, if you will, to go ahead and start over, and kind of the assurance that Taurus, you get the second chance because you deserve better. Finally, I feel like the ancestors are working real hard to make sure Taurus gets a better run this time. Taurus got cheated out of something in their first chapter of life. So when I say it like a chapter of life, that's kind of how I look at my own life. Is it's been lived in chapters. I've had distinctly different eras of my life where I've worked in a different industry or I've lived in a different region, and just I've always still been me, but what made up the primary thoughts that were on my mind because of what was in front of me, looking back at me, what life looked like at that, that 10-year time or that 15-year period that I was in, those are like different chapters, different eras of my life. And I guess that's the way I'm seeing it in this storyline. That's the best way I could describe this. Page of Pentacles. Taurus is exiting a chapter of their life that had a lot of wrongs. Taurus had a lot of, and maybe it was, that's why Taurus has exited the most recent chapter of their life. Sometimes when we're done with something, when we've outgrown it, it will push us right out the door, and it pushes us out the door and pushes us onto our next chapter by saying nothing fits, nothing's working, nothing's clicking anymore, nothing's fair, nothing is falling into place. And I kind of feel like that's what the ancestors are saying to Taurus. This really feels, even though this was supposed to be about love, this is all about the ancestors saying to Taurus, darling, you had some significantly unpleasant and unfair and unjust treatment in this most recent chapter of your life. We know it, we saw it, but baby, don't worry. It's going to be so much better. This is your second go round. This is your next layer of life. And the nice thing is you're entering this next chapter of your life with a ton of resources. We've got the Eight of Pentacles here. So we know that Taurus already has a ton of like wisdom, knowledge, a ton of, resources to use in this second chapter of life. Page of Pentacles is this next step forward. I know we got the moon back here, but this is like a conversation that's coming in with somebody different than Taurus would have expected to meet. This is something that Taurus can't quite see what their next chapter looks like. Maybe that's why the ancestors are like gathering around right now, giving this sense of peace. I feel like Taurus is about to get all of this support. Like maybe they are stressing right now and Taurus is going to get a good night's rest. And that's when the ancestors are like surrounding Taurus, sending all these messages. And I feel like Taurus is going to wake up tomorrow feeling like somehow refreshed. Somehow there's this lovely light filtering in, or maybe it'll be moonlight, but I see it like it's sunrise tomorrow. I think Taurus is going to start to have a lot more like sense of peace. Whether or not they remember it's because an ancestor was coming in and giving them this gentle guidance and saying, Taurus, things are changing, but it's changing for your benefit. You're leaving behind a chapter of life. You're transitioning into the next chapter where everything will feel fresh and new possibilities are there for you. And the things that were unfair and that weren't clicking and that weren't right, it's going to be replaced by new faces, new opportunities. So although we know it's been a difficult time, we're giving you that message, that guidance. And I kind of feel like all of this is coming in the night. Like maybe Taurus is going to dream of an ancestor or something, but I feel like they wake up the next day feeling better, feeling like I feel restored. I feel like for some reason, maybe everything's going to work out. That's exactly what the message is here. This says, Taurus, things are going to work out. The changes were so necessary for Taurus. The Taurus had outgrown something that was really kind of stinking. It was no good. Ten of Swords, yeah. The painful, stressful time is actually closing. That chapter that was uncomfortable for Taurus is over. That's a huge relief to see. I'm hearing that song, Leaving Las Vegas, Sheryl Crow. And almost immediately we have new energy, new influx. It could be that Taurus is leaving. It could be that Taurus is meeting new people. It could be both happening simultaneously. Taurus could be about to, decide, I am done living in an area. And I think things are going to fall into place for Taurus to leave. It could happen so much faster than what Taurus would have expected. The changes. Sometimes when we are like, things are shifting, but we haven't seen the next doorway open yet, that's when it feels stressful because it's like, okay, I'm being pushed to, like the edge, but I don't see the door. Like I'm headed toward this wall because what's behind me, I don't belong in anymore. But where's the door out of this room? And it's like all of a sudden, bam, it turns out it's not just a single door. It's like a huge door. Tourists didn't even realize. They thought it was a wall. It's not. It's a huge door up onto this, glorious new, I don't know, like pavilion or something. But it feels like Taurus's life is about to expand. But that moment of sudden expansion we couldn't have choreographed it better. It feels very like things are just clicking into place just perfectly, just when Taurus most needs it to, but it also feels very sudden. To have what could be like sweeping change for Taurus, and this doesn't mean like, oh, Taurus is going to be suddenly out of a house and then they have to find some new place to live. I mean, I guess in this storyline for this particular fictional character, it could be something that tremendously, life altering, but this could be more along the lines of, Taurus is letting go of the remnants of the memory of a previous person that they were with, and almost before they could believe it, they're meeting somebody new, and it's like, this person has now become my focal point. I don't know where this person showed up out of nowhere, how I bumped into them on the street corner. I literally 2 blocks ago, I was thinking about my ex. I decided to stop thinking about him, and then I rounded this corner and I just meet this new person. It could be something more like that. We have the wild card sideways. Look, we can say, wow, this is random, but this says it's not that random. It's all the little actions that we take in life lead us down a path. We're not really, running this way and that way in life, where our feet are kind of designed to take us forward all the time. We're not really just randomly, swashbuckling our way all over in life. All of our choices lead us down a path, or maybe I should say, we pick a path, whether or not we realize it. I think Taurus is just awakening to the fact that they had already chosen to like embrace the next different chapter of their life, and now it's here, it's happening, it's unfolding. And although it looked like it was a little stressful, the ancestors are like, baby, this is what you wanted, and this is what we want for you, and this is a good thing. The changes here look fabulous. Tell me about the Knight of Swords. Things do pick up pace all of a sudden. Ace of Pentacles, there's our new beginning. I was picturing almost like when I said it's like Taurus is in a room where they're not meant to be in this room anymore, but they keep getting pushed forward, and it's like, but I'm coming to a wall. Where's the doorway? And I was picturing like an Indiana Jones, like when the wall is, moving, and the walk path that he's been on is like getting swallowed up by this now, moving wall. It's like a booby trapped room or something. And it's funny because here she is like sitting at the edge. She's come to the edge, and yet that's where, we have this brand new beginning. We had to go to the edge of something. It does feel like it's in the nick of time for sure, but that's, like I said, it's the perfect symphony. It's when all of the different elements of what Taurus's life have been, everything was completing in this perfect, moment, and that's the launch pad for Taurus's next chapter. All of this feels not booby trapped, not like an Indiana Jones adventure of like, oh my God, will Taurus make it through this? It might have felt that way, but really it's more like this perfectly designed symphony that's just right for who Taurus is. Now we see the next chapter beginning. Now we see the next, unfurling. Taurus could have some really interesting taste in clothing, by the way. I'm picturing somebody who has like I don't know if it's going to be like a coat or a dress or something that is like very retro. I picture somebody like repurposed some 1970s funky, like heavy, like canvas, or, maybe like a blanket or something that was really heavily ornamented, and then they repurposed it and turned it into like an article of clothing, or some kind of like, I could see this being like a Taurus who's very crafty. Like they take elements of things and then they repurpose them, and then they weave that into some other like garment or some other piece of their life, which is great because that fits well with how this Taurus's life seems to be weaving, even with the ancestors coming in and giving Taurus counsel during this time of transition, saying, Taurus, there's lots of change, but this is part of the tapestry of your life. You're meant for something richer. You're meant for the next chapter, the next adventure. Don't hold on tight to the past. You're already done with it and you know it. Taurus, there's nothing that you need to cling to. There's no sense of frantic, oh my gosh, but how will this all work out? It's like, you already know it'll work out, Taurus. This is the Seven of Swords. This is like, it feels really uncomfortable when life makes big changes, but remember, we're the ones making life change. Taurus has actually been in charge of this the whole time because of who they are, because of somewhere Taurus decided, I'm done with this. This isn't fun anymore. I'd like a do-over. I don't like who I've been with or who I've been or what's been unfair and unkind. I don't like this anymore. I want something else. Once upon a time, it might have been fun, but then bit by bit, grain by grain, it was eroded and now it doesn't feel fun. I want a new chapter. Thank you. And please, I think the ancestors are coming in to tell Taurus, you picked this love and that's why it's going to be great for you. This is so awesome. But to go back to I know everything is picking up pace really swiftly. I can see that Taurus is going to, I think, have a much better day like tomorrow, whether that means the very, following morning or whether that's just in the more metaphorical sense. Tomorrow is every day we haven't lived yet. So we can see that Taurus has a new beginning. But is this a new beginning in love? Is this a new beginning with a new partner? Well, it's definitely Taurus falling in love with their life because we have the Ace of Cups, which is self-love. And we have that Page of Pentacles again, which is what we had over here where she was sitting with the moon behind her. And we went from that to that Knight of Swords. I keep feeling like Taurus is about to meet someone brand new. Taurus is, first off, I think about to love their life a lot more. But I also think that the changes are, Taurus is leaving a bunch of who they used to be in the past. They're ready for a new adventure. They're ready to meet a new person. They're ready for things to be different in their life. And sure enough, not only are things going to be different, but they've got a new individual showing up, I think. It's going to bring fresh ideas. We have a Six of Wands, Two of Pentacles. There is new love here, but there's also new success. This kind of feels like Taurus has to go someplace else, break a routine, go do something different in order to have the success that they're really supposed to have. Whether this is career or a hobby or going to, a different like cafe to play music at, if Taurus is like a musician, and that everybody loves them. Maybe Taurus was like, oh my gosh, this is almost draining me. It almost makes me feel like I don't want to like be a musician anymore. The places that I play out on this side of town, they're just kind of like the audience isn't interested, or the audience is dwindling, or people don't go to the cafe anymore. And it's like Taurus needs to cross town and go to a different cafe, play their music there, perform there. It says it's time for the shakeup, Taurus. Taurus is really, really talented. They're going to be either seen or noticed, and all it may take sometimes to change our circumstances in life is literally, cross the street, go and try something just a little teeny tiny bit different. It doesn't have to be you've got to move to a different city, change your name, give yourself a new hairstyle. I mean, it could be that extreme, but it could just be, let me get a different perspective. Let me do things just a smidge different. This Taurus is going to be doing things different, and it's bringing in new people. It's bringing in greater satisfaction. Taurus gets to meet somebody new, but more than anything, they feel so much better because they're back in charge of their own choices. And I think their life feels more balanced. Taurus feels more empowered. That's something that I don't think they've had in a while, because I think they were with either the wrong person or in the wrong situation for a while that was really unfair. And the ancestors are just cheering Taurus on in this story. They're giving Taurus that gentle nudge that says, we know the change is still disruptive, but it's better than staying stagnant in something that isn't fair and isn't right. You deserve so much better, Taurus. And so these changes that Taurus seems to be going through, it just feels like everything gets brighter, better. And again, the changes don't have to be massive for Taurus to reap these huge benefits. It's just, I think things are going to click for Taurus. There's definitely letting go of maybe relationship, maybe letting go of you know, like I said, a former career, or maybe, you know, where they performed in one part of town, they're going to perform someplace else. And that's where everything will really click. Their audience, they're going to find their audience. They're going to find their group, their groove. They're going to find their lover someplace else. So actually really, really nice for Taurus. I loved this one. I feel like that was very supportive. And I love the fact the ancestors were so like with Taurus the whole time, you know, giving Taurus this, you know, this cheer section during this transition time. All right, I'm going to leave this one here. Taurus, thank you so much for hanging with me. I'm sorry this got a little bit long. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. Bye.